Okay, hey everybody, this is Dave, CEO of the Penta Global Blockchain Foundation, coming to you on October 3rd from our office in San Francisco. I'm a few days late getting out this monthly report. My apologies. I've just been traveling a lot lately, which is typical for this business, you know? The important thing about building a public chain project is growing a community, and these are global communities, so that requires a lot of hitting the pavement, going around, speaking at events, meeting with people, and hopefully growing a really diverse, active, engaged community, which is exactly what we're doing at Penta. And we shall see that we're making a lot of progress. So I don't want to do too long for this video because, us millennials, we all have short attention spans. So how about if I just start pounding it out? Let's look at, I will come back to that. This is what I want to show you guys, our monthly progress report for the month of September. I'm going to go through the tech stuff really quickly. We are virtually ready to go with our wallet for PC wallet, and we are working on wallets for cell phones and other devices. So that is moving along. Now the DSC consensus process is coming along really nicely. We have put up our testnet onto a P2P broadcast network channel, and the initial test is totally working. Our basic code review, so the code is written, the review is currently at 20% progress. I just want to say, I'm going to let you look into my eyes, we will be publishing our code on GitHub. Penta will be a fully open source project. We believe in open source, so please check back as we incrementally publish all the coding. As you can see, we're going through review right now to make sure that it's at a state where we can start to publish it. Yes, I just mentioned DSC, so I want to show you guys. Now, I did put this on the last video, but I think it's really important to have this visual, so I'm going to show everybody. Let me pull this up. I think it's right here. Nope. Okay, this is DSC, everybody. This is producing a block. Boom. So that's what it looks like. Maybe it doesn't look like much in this video, but the importance of this is that you can see the coding of our DSC algorithm working. We are at 5-second block production right now, which is comparable with EOS, which is at 3 to 5 seconds per block production. And we're doing it in a more decentralized fashion than EOS. Our goal with DSC and with the Penta network is to be a faster, more decentralized infrastructure. And I want to reiterate my personal belief and the belief of the Penta team in maintaining a decentralized ecosystem, which is what we really believe our community members and the public at large, consumers, want as we move into this new phase of the smart economy. So that is what's happening there. I mentioned our PC wallet, 90% complete. Graphical interface is coming along. We are 97% complete with the Blockchain Explorer, and that's what just prematurely popped up. Here we go. Now this one is just a screenshot, but it's actually totally active. You can see that we have days and days of transaction history running, so we're running DSC nonstop, optimizing the system. You can see our two different kinds of nodes, the delegates and witnesses who are participating in our internal testing and optimization, and I think that the design looks really nice. We're trying to definitely take into consideration user experience with our platform. We've recognized that recently released platforms have made some improvements upon Ethereum in terms of user experience, but mostly as it relates to developers. Penta will take that a step further, not only making it a user-friendly experience for dApp developers, but also for consumers. So we are building the Penta ecosystem with the end users in mind. That's both developers and the consumers. And developers are only going to be active on Penta or any blockchain if their consumers are active on it, right? I mean, developers, generally speaking, are network agnostic. Product developers will go where the consumers are. And consumers are going to go where they feel that the community reflects their value system in the smart economy. That's why being decentralized, I think, is so important. Okay. Now, with our ecosystem news, I'll just briefly mention two things. One, on September 6th, I was invited to the Washington, D.C. office. It's actually in Arlington, Virginia, right outside of DC, for the USA Rice Federation. I don't have a picture up for that, but you can check my Twitter feed. And this is in response to their interest in Penta's blockchain rice project, which we are talking with them about implementing for their member partners here in the US. So, this is the National Association for Rice Growers. They also represent major names like Kellogg's and Anheuser-Busch, who are big time buyers of rice product grown here in the US. So, we look forward to advancing our blockchain rice project, hopefully here in the US with them. Penta Labs is growing. We had a rooftop event in New York that I attended with the founder of Penta Labs, Roy Leo, my partner, and that was great. We talked to a lot of people that come from Wall Street who are active in the crypto space, and it's interesting to hear. Here I am in San Francisco. We have definitely a more kind of tech feel here. People are really talking more and more about the tech side of the business here. But in Wall Street, people are really talking about the crypto markets, and it's interesting to see how different people are coming together in this industry and interacting. Okay, let's move along now to our activities in review. So on the 7th of September, the Business Development Director, Flory Zheng, was invited to attend the OECD Blockchain Policy Forum in Paris. And I'm going to pull up a picture of Ms. Flory to show you how successful that event was. Oh, bear with me. Okay, and I think it's this one. So here's Flory meeting with the secretary of the OECD. So this is so cool. Penta was the only public blockchain project to be invited to this event. And we were able to, Flory on behalf of Penta was able to speak with some really leaders in Europe who are focusing on blockchain policies. And what I have to say is that we are very encouraged by the openness of European countries to blockchain technology, but also to cryptocurrencies. It seems to us that there's a lot of competition, you could call it regulatory competition, amongst different countries in Europe to be more inviting to the crypto industry as it grows. There is tremendous potential for economic growth, tremendous potential for job creation in crypto and in blockchain technology. So these countries are working really hard to be inviting towards the crypto community. I hope that the US will catch up with that. I believe we're a little bit slow here. So there's that. Now on September 14th, I was in Seoul. I attended the second Huobi Chain Developers and Engineers meetup. I'm not going to show you any pictures from that one because on September 27th, Dr. Steve, my co-founder at Penta, went to the third and final round of the Huobi Chain event. I'm going to show you some pictures of that right now. Here he is, Dr. Steve, with the scientist hair. I love it. If you don't know Dr. Steve, he's an amazing, total genius, and was the representative of Penta. Going into the event, Dr. Steve was on the first ranked team. You can see the team here. This is Anita. We have representatives from 360, which is an important media company out of China. Also, Ken Huang, who has a project and is also a sought-after blockchain speaker and advisor. So a really great team. Went into the event as number one, but ended up falling to Gennaro, who won that event. But it was a great experience, and we were pleased to be able to offer our support to Huobi, who's been a good partner of Penta. And you can see here is Dr. Steve with our partners Lilin. This is the co-founder, the founder rather, of Huobi, and Mr. Yuan. Mr. Yuan was just recently named the CEO of Huobi China. So we continue to have a great relationship with Huobi and look forward to our continued relationship with them. As you know, Penta is listed on Huobi Hadax, which has now been connected with Huobi Global. So that will hopefully bring some new life into the Huobi ecosystem, and we'll see an uptick in the liquidity and transaction volume there. Now, on September 20th, I signed a contract with a very important company out of Hollywood called Union Editorial. This is a major editorial company. They do editing of feature-length films. They do editing of commercials. They have offices in New York, Los Angeles. They've been around for a long time. And we have a really, really cool project that we're developing with them right now that relates to the way that film financing is done. And moreover, the way that proceeds from films are distributed amongst the parties involved in producing and distributing films. And these are very complex problems. Perfect use case for blockchain. We're very excited to have this partnership with such a well-known and important company in the Hollywood space. And here is the signature page of the contract. You can see I've signed with Mr. Raimondi. That's Michael from Union Editorial. There's my John Hancock. It's so important to me and to us that we present to our community a transparent and accountable process for building this community, for managing this community, and to working with you to grow what I hope will be the most diverse and dynamic blockchain ecosystem. And we really do have a tremendous community. So I want to say thank you to you. Okay, moving along. You can see I'm trying to get a lot of information in there. We've been growing by leaps and bounds and doing a lot. So on September 28th, Flory and I were invited to the United Nations. And the mission of Georgia, that's the Republic of Georgia, not the state of Georgia, the Republic of Georgia co-hosted with the mission of France an event at the United Nations called Blockchain as an Innovative Financing Mechanism. And I'm going to show you now pictures of Flory and I attending the event. Oh, this is the day before I was asked to speak at a roundtable. It's called the International Business Roundtable, co-hosted by Harvard and the United Nations and some other sponsors. This is Flory, who attended the event with me. We were talking with the ambassador of Monaco. And Monaco is very interested in how innovative technologies like blockchain can support healthcare systems and innovation in healthcare. So we had a very interesting conversation with her about that. And here I am, just before I walked into this side meeting. So it was not in the General Assembly Hall, but in a side hall. You see Mission of Georgia is hosting this event. Here I am with Flory inside this kind of feels like a 1960s, 1970s style room. But this event was really interesting. People from industry, from government, from academia all participated in the conversation. It was attended by the UN ambassador of Japan, representative of Liechtenstein, of the royal family of Liechtenstein, members of the missions from South Korea, from Iraq, from France, from the French Foreign Ministry. There was a lot of people from a lot of different places, and it was very exciting to see this international interest. And one of the focal points of the conversation was how can innovative technology like blockchain and innovative financing, such as that provided through cryptocurrencies, help United Nations member states reach their development goals as part of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, also known as SDG. So that was very interesting. So then a day after I returned from the United Nations, I was invited to the launch ceremony for Raycoins. Raycoins is a new exchange launched here in the US, based in California. This is the CEO of Raycoins. He's a really cool guy. His name is Jay. Now, Raycoins is interesting because they have received approval from the federal government. They have an MBS license to be a legally compliant crypto exchange in the US. And what I want to stress to you is the importance of having these compliant crypto exchanges. I think that the compliant exchanges are going to totally change this industry, because fully compliant exchanges in different jurisdictions, not just the US, are going to invite investment from institutional investors. And that liquidity coming from smart money, from other financial markets flooding into the crypto market is going to totally bolster this industry. And we'll look at the markets at the end of my conversation today with you guys. But relatively speaking, crypto markets are still pretty small. We're around $200+ billion. If you compare with the dot-coms back in the 1990s, that was up around $5-6 trillion with a T versus $200 billion with a B. So we have a long way to go to grow this industry, and having legally compliant and regulated crypto markets, crypto exchanges, will be an important stepping stone to getting money from institutional investors. And hopefully we'll see an ETF approved here in the short term, which will also invite retail investors to come into the marketplace through ETFs, which are one of the major ways that retail investors are investing in the equities markets right now. So Raycoins is only the third exchange in the U.S. with Chinese background to be approved to be this kind of an exchange. And they had a really fantastic event with government representatives, including representative of a congressman from California, somebody from the state assembly, the former mayor of West Hollywood, all the names of the individuals I posted on my Twitter, so you can check that out. And also in attendance was Mr. Philip Liu, the COO of Bitmain. So I had a chance to talk with him. And you can see this horrible name card I had to wear. Nobody else seems to be wearing the name card except for me. But anyway, this meeting, Philip, is interesting because it comes at a time when Bitmain has filed their papers for an IPO. And this could be one of the biggest IPOs of the year, if not in recent history or ever. This IPO is reading could be up to like $14-15 billion. That would make it around as big as the IPO for Facebook. So this is really amazing. Bitmain, if you don't know, is the largest, most important provider of mining machines for Bitcoin. So Bitmain has been a major force in the growth of the industry, and having a chance to meet Philip at this event was pretty cool. In Singapore. You see, this is what happens when you travel too much. I'm in San Francisco to speak at the Global Blockchain Forum, which is part of the Blockchain Week here in San Francisco. I will be speaking on a panel on Friday being hosted by the lovely Vivi of Mars Finance, who will be the moderator for that panel. So if anybody happens to be in town, if you're coming to the GBF event, please hang around and listen to the panel on Friday. I'm happy to talk with you before or after about Penta, and look forward to the chance to meet anybody who's going to be there. All right, moving along. I mentioned before that I attended the second round of the Huobi Chain event in Korea, and I was featured in a few media exposés. Here's one that was published in a magazine. I'm afraid I don't speak Korean, but it looks like they did a very nice interview. Our Korean community managers said that it looked really good. So thank you to our Korean community for helping us to grow there. It's a really important marketplace. And indeed, I want to tell you guys that we are working hard to grow our community faster and bigger in Korea. So that's an important marketplace for us. Stay tuned. You're going to see more activity from us there. Here is, just yesterday night in Los Angeles with the guys from Blockchain on the Beach, which is a really cool organization down there that are bringing people together and growing community in blockchain. I showed this to you already. Now, this is just something little tirade to share with you guys. I saw this in the news yesterday, so this is October 2nd, published in the Washington Post. Here is Jerome Powell. He's the chairman of the Fed, the Federal Reserve Bank. And check out the title to this article. This is amazing. This is almost the too good to be true economy. When I saw this, I literally almost fell out of my seat. I'm going to show you my Twitter post on this, but things that are too good to be true usually are. And what we have right now with this economy is a totally overheated economy fueled by years and years of debt, zero interest rate policy, and that has totally bolstered our equities markets, which have been soaring. But I just don't believe that it's sustainable. And I'm really feeling really nervous that we're cruising for a bruising in the traditional equities markets. Now, that could be good news for the crypto markets, because when the correction comes, and it will definitely come to the equities markets, people are going to be pulling money out of equities, and they're going to be putting it in places where they can get a better return for their money. Guess where that is? That's going to be the crypto markets. Here's an interesting thing to think about. Our equities markets in this country, in the United States, are totally fueled by debt, whether it's cheap debt coming from the Fed through zero interest policy, zero interest rates, or very low interest rates, or if it's coming in the form of corporate financing through debt. Either way, all the major companies in the NYSE, the S&P 500, they have massive amounts of debt on their books. And sooner or later, that debt is going to catch up with them. And the point I want to make is that ICOs and cryptos virtually have no debt. An ICO is more like an equity type offering. People are buying into the equity of the platform through its tokenization. And while it maybe defies traditional, conventional sense of an equity investment, I think the comparison to the debt-laden markets and our equities is apt because there's no debt service to be paid on the token investments that are prevalent in the crypto industry. So that's a really important distinction that I want to make. And I just can't. This is what I wrote in my Twitter feed. I'm going to zoom in here. Oh, if I can do it. Here we go. This is when you run for the hills, I said. Too good to be true, can't be based in reality. Crypto will be a much better store of value than overvalued equities dripping in unsustainable debt. I really believe that. The traditional equities markets in the US are a casino, and it's just not that different. We see market manipulation on steroids in the crypto industry. It's a largely unregulated marketplace, so we can kind of see things laid bare. But the same stuff, all the same naughtiness and nonsense is happening in equities markets. That is for sure. Only in this case, it's being backed up by cheap, low interest debt coming from the government that pumps it into the ecosystem, which is not available to average people like you or me or mom and pop retail investors. Is going to the major financial institutions who are then investing it into high risk assets, which continues the growth of this bubble, this casino in our traditional equities markets, which is underwritten by taxpayers. That is the contradiction of our form of capitalism, and why I believe that when the bubble bursts, and it will burst, people are going to be looking very closely at crypto as another store of value. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at the markets, but before I get there, I just wanted to finish up here with our monthly rundown. All right, so we are growing. Our community is growing every month. We do live broadcasts. I do some for our Chinese community. We have a new English Telegram group. So here's our community growth. Everybody can see that we're adding numbers across the board in all of our different platforms. This is a typo. It should say Weibo, which is it's like the Twitter, I guess, of China. So we're at about, if you add all these numbers up, we're around 100,000 active users across our platforms. So please, if you are not following us on our various social media platforms, please do so. You can find all the links on our official website. We are publishing a lot of information about the tech side of Penta as we're rolling it out through Medium. And sure enough, we will start to release our coding on GitHub, so please check back for that. Okay, let's look at the markets. So, Penta has suffered through the bear market like any other project has. Right now, we're around 0.001 cents per PNT. The point I'd like to share with everybody is that if we look at the September, this is actually going from September 4th to October 4th, price change in the markets for Penta. You can see that we started the last 30-day period at about 0.0013, and here we are today at around 0.001. So we've lost a little bit, but let's compare with the 30-day chart for Ethereum. Okay, here's Ethereum starting at $289, right? That's the USD one. Yep. And finishing this 30-day period at 218. So the point I'd like to stress is that Penta has followed the trends of the market more or less over the last 30 days, but we've fared quite a bit better than Ethereum has. So people are paying attention to Penta. They're recognizing that DSC is fully operational, it's working, the internal testing is looking really good, and we're getting very close to launch of our testnet in December. We are on target, so please follow along with us as we start to publish our coding on GitHub. So that's the basic rundown for the last month. Hopefully you're seeing that we are working really hard, everybody in the Penta team, including our amazing developers who are doing a fantastic job rolling out the various aspects of the Penta network. And you guys had a chance to see DSC working in real time. So that's it for me today. Sorry. That's it for me today. If you guys have any questions, as always, please send them to us. We're happy to respond. And we always welcome your thoughts, comments, and appreciate your interest in Penta. We will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.